Hi, and welcome to the Crit Hit Wild podcast, where we cover all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, and we cover a new character every week. This week we're covering Carnage, and I'm your host, Fred.
I'm Brad.
And I'm Brandon.
And Steven is currently at LVO right now, so wishing him good luck. I hope he's having fun out there. He will be back next week with a full breakdown of his experience. Let's move on to news and announcements. So there was a tournament yesterday, actually, in South Charleston. It was fun. We'll cover that later. We'll cover that in games played recently. Next Saturday, I believe that is Saturday the 27th of January, there is a tournament at Fabricators Forge in Pittsburgh. Anyone in the area, head on up there and play some games with Bryce and the folks up there.
And
it should be pretty fun.
Probably me and Borka and maybe Brandon.
And probably Brad, Borka, and Brandon.
Oh, Brandon said maybe.
Brandon said maybe.
Yeah, I feel like getting included in that properly is gonna let some people down.
Yeah, fair.
I will if I can.
But no
right.
Fred.
No Fred.
That's sad.
I will be sitting this one out.
Fred's not putting.
Sorry.
Oh, never
mind. And then on March the 9th, later on in the year, there will be a tournament at Missing Falls Brewery in Akron, Ohio. And for everyone who's listening, that is going to be a painted models only tournament. So come prepared with your best painted models.
Or your adequately painted models.
Right. Just make sure
models
that you
with
know
paint
that
on them.
Yeah.
Going in. Yeah. All right. Well, so LVO is happening right now, and it's actually happening today while we're recording. So we don't know the final outcomes. So we're not going to go through where the standings are yet, because it's all still up in the air. But we do want to talk a little bit about some of the stats that we've noticed. So why don't the two of you take that away? Because the two of you have it open. So go ahead and start with some interesting stats, Brandon.
All right, so there's a couple cool things. First is that everybody in the Invitational inputted their MCT codes into Longshanks, which means we have complete access to all 64 rosters, which is probably the most cool thing that any of them have ever done, even though I don't know any of them. I'm pretty sure they do cool things. I think the most wild thing is that 39 of the 64 people played Beta Ray Bill.
That's so much. He's on so many lists.
Like, that's crazy to me, because there's only four affiliations that weren't included in the tournament, and that's Convocation and Hydra, which I think are the most surprising, and then Dark Dimension and Sentinels, which I don't believe are surprising at all.
Right.
Like, two people played unaffiliated, and nobody played Convocation or Hydra, which is kind of crazy.
How are they playing unaffiliated? What is happening?
I mean, I could go find their rosters, actually.
Well, I didn't mean to derail you. I'm sorry.
Fred, because this didn't come up before the podcast, care to guess what the most popular faction was?
Most popular faction?
12 of the 60 players.
Avengers.
No. Think about the most broken, high-powered team right now.
Web Warriors.
What? No.
What's wrong with you?
Broken, high-powered.
Why did we let Fred do this?
Yeah. What is it? Hellfire Club.
No.
What was the team I mentioned that was like two of the top three?
Listen,
you're gonna hate yourself for not getting this. Actually,
you're probably. It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, good job, Fred.
Okay,
you got there.
Yeah, okay, I got there.
I had to throw in the he'll hate himself part.
Yeah.
I thought that number might be higher than it was. I was not. I actually thought that number might have been higher. So
The number
both
of people
of
playing
the
Guardians.
yeah, so the two players that played unaffiliated games actually have like X-Men X-Force lists and just apparently did not play with the leadership.
Messed up.
That's weird. Interesting.
Yeah, I thought so. There were only 3 games played, but the only people that did were an X-Force X-Men list, and then there was a Guardians list that apparently played a game unaffiliated.
Okay, so these are just cases where they, for some reason, felt that they were better equipped not taking the leader, but
Or
they are
Yeah.
like
or they
fully.
put their list together, Fred, and went, "This is what I'm playing," and the person goes, "So unaffiliated," and they go, "Oh, I guess I
Oh yeah,
am."
like they realized after putting everything together that
Yeah.
they weren't affiliated.
You know what will prevent that?
Playing only affiliated.
Cerebro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy that played all 3 games unaffiliated. He won one of those games, but his list included Storm Cable, Logan Psylocke, X-23, Black Panther, Baron Zemo, Nebula, Rocket, Thanos.
Oh wow, that's a diverse list.
There's a lot going on in that list.
There's a lot going on there. He just wants to take only the best models.
There's a lot of good things. There is another little fun fact. All 7 people that registered Thanos the Mad Titan played him with both the reality and the space gems.
It's 2-stone Thanos. I mean, if you're gonna go with Thanos, you might as well go full. Go for the full 8 points.
Yeah, I thought that was. I just thought, yeah, I just thought it was interesting that they all played it. I feel like you could have seen a space in mind, but I think they're all playing it with. I think they're all playing it with Guardians of the Galaxy, and I mean that list at this point is so good. Being able to play Thanos, Cosmic Ghost Rider. I think almost all these lists also have Hulk in it.
Oh man. It'd be so hard to play in there. So hard to win playing against that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so they do what they do.
Yeah.
Fred, what do you think was the most played registered crisis at the event?
Did you say Fred or Brad?
Yeah. No,
Okay,
Fred.
sorry.
I've got it up. I don't want to ask Brad these questions. He has access to them.
Is it Fear Grips?
It is Fear Grips.
It's my most hated crisis. It's the
What do you
crisis I
think?
like the least.
What do you think the most popular secure was?
Gamma Wave.
Nope.
No.
Gamma was
Ooh.
tied for second.
Gamma was tied for. Is it Demons Downtown?
It is not. Demons was 4th.
Okay. It wouldn't be Superpowered Scoundrels. That's crazy.
It was Superpowered Scoundrels.
That's crazy. What are people
Cool.
doing? Why is it
26 people.
Superpowered Scoundrel?
26 people registered Superpowered Scoundrels.
I mean, listen, I like Superpowered Scoundrels, but there are some. You do not want to be up against Criminal Syndicate on Superpowered Scoundrels. You will lose.
There's not a lot of Syndicate in this event. Only 3 people have Syndicate available to play.
Huh.
So
Okay.
it's not as much. So I think the craziest thing about this, I think there are 2 crazy things about the crisis. I think the top 3 extracts played are wild to me besides Fear Grips. The number 2 and number 3 are actually were mind blowing. And then the least played ones are the other one. The least played and then the most played extract. The least played Crisis, there's 2 of them tied for last, and then the second 2 of the 3 tied for second place are wild to me.
Okay. I'm curious what the. Okay. So it's crazy what's second place.
Second place is Deadly Legacy Virus and Scrolls.
Oh, weird. Okay. Why
Yeah.
Scrolls?
I am assuming at this point that it is more about the threat value, than it is anything else, because the top 4 are 18, 19, 20, 20.
Oh, I bet you're right. I bet that's what it is. They're just trying to fill to points.
Yeah. The least played 2 are Portal's Overrun City with Spider People, which isn't super surprising, but the other one's Sword Base.
Sword Base?
Yeah. I'm
People are
kind of
wrong.
surprised. I'm actually surprised about Sword Base.
Everyone is wrong. Sword Base is awesome. They should be playing it.
Brad,
That's
what are
wild.
some things that are surprising to you?
Well, I would have to look up from my painting.
Brad
I
was
don't
not
know.
expecting to be a part of this conversation.
I think the second most played character is extremely surprising.
Yeah, I saw
Okay.
that.
Second most played character,
Yeah.
and it's surprising.
It's a
How many
good
guesses
character.
did Fred? It's a very good character. The amount of guesses that it'll take Fred to get this are probably astronomically high.
Oh yeah, it's probably
he is in one list I play fairly regularly and used to be in my X-Men list.
He is a character you should consider splashing if you're playing a scenario game plan.
Is it Dr. Voodoo?
No. Dr. Voodoo is 20th. 9 people registered Dr. Voodoo.
Huh. He's real low. And he would not be surprising as number 2, I think.
Probably not. I probably would not have mentioned it if he was number 2.
So Brad has played him before in your X-Men list.
Yes.
You played against him recently.
Mm.
Not as recent as the tournament, but as recent as your 3-game gauntlet against Jared.
Huh. Is it Amazing Spider-Man?
It is not. He is 10th, though, with 13 registrations.
Amazing Spider-Man's having a resurgence. He's having a resurgence.
He is very good.
It's not Miles Morales, is it?
Miles Morales is 5th with 21 registrations.
Okay. Huh.
I am also surprised by 6 and 7, Brad.
I'm not.
Who did I? Okay. So in my 3
They're
kind of
kind of high, but
yeah, more 6 than 7. But
is it Crimson Dynamo? No, I would have played against him at the tournament.
Dynamo is 14th. He had 12 registrations.
Help me out here. Who was number 2?
it's a 2-pointer.
It is a 2-pointer.
Oh.
Which I think that in itself is super surprising.
Yeah. It's not Toad, is it?
It is Toad.
Toad?
Toad
Okay.
was registered
listen,
in 24 lists.
I get it. Toad is great. Nothing against him.
Out of the
He's a
top
good
5,
model.
he's the only one that surprised me because it's Beta Ray Bill, Toad, Black Cat, Hulk, Miles Morales.
Yeah, those all make sense.
Agent Venom was 6th, which is surprising to me.
Not
It's
with
'cause all the
not with
people
all
playing
those
Guardians.
Yeah, not with all those Guardians players.
Yeah. He's a
Guardians
solid
and
Guardians.
Guardians and Web Warriors are 1-2, so like I guess that checks out. It's just I don't know. It was just that it caught me off guard more than it did anything. Like Rhino at 8, I thought Rhino would have more. I thought there'd be more Rhinos than Agent Venoms and Spider. Spider-Woman was 7.
Listen, having played against Spider-Woman, I've been playing against Aaron a lot recently. Spider-Woman rules. She's so hard to deal with.
There are a couple that were kind of surprising, like down at the bottom of the list, but not like anything like abnormal. None that I'm like, oh my god, not many people. Like only 5 people played Iron Fist, which was kind of shocking to me, and Pyro only 6 people played.
Huh.
And I believe if we went to like Second Wind, Pyro was in like 20 to he was in a very high percentage list.
Interesting.
So those were two that really surprised me close to the bottom. Or closer to the bottom. And they're not at the bottom. Like from 19 to 54 it goes from 9 to 5. So it's not huge differences. I feel like there's a lot less people playing Lizard now. Lizard, only 11 people played Lizard.
Sad face.
I think that's there's some telling things about the meta that we're getting at LVO versus what we've been getting pretty consistently for the last year, which I think a lot of that's also indicated with a lot of spider foes, or a lot of not spider foes. Sorry, Fred. A lot of only one person played spider foes. A lot of web warriors.
Yeah.
Fallback was the number 2 played tactics card.
All back. Interesting.
Yeah.
Number 1, of course, being Brace for Impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
54 of the 64 lists included Brace for Impact.
You're right.
And so 10 people were wrong, and then, I'm just kidding. I don't play Brace, so don't come at me.
How about Indomitable? Are there any Indomitables?
13th, 11 players played Indomitable.
I'll tell you what. So this came up in the tournament. Indomitable prevents this as a robbery. So everyone listening, if you have someone who's playing Rhino a lot, bring Indomitable, and you can hold on to your thing. To your objective, I should say. But yeah, it's surprising that it's that low.
It would still drop the token.
No, the throw is the triggering thing for the token dropping.
No, so choose an enemy character within 1 that is holding an objective token. The chosen character drops any objective tokens it is holding. Period. Rhino then throws the chosen character medium.
Oh, well.
So Fred's wrong.
Yeah, I didn't think that was right, but I couldn't check right now, so I just let it go.
I knew it was incorrect, and I promptly had to check because I've done that before where they Indomitable just to not move.
Okay, that was the It didn't make a difference because I still won the game that I'm talking about, but
it was also your card. Did you not read it?
Listen, I'm not gonna debate with someone who seems like they know what they're talking about big time.
I want to go back to the tactics cards. The second most played restricted card was kind of surprising, but not super surprising. I think it's more surprising to me the drastic difference between the second and third restricted cards.
Okay.
The second, you want to put a guess out there, Fred?
Patch Up.
Patch Up was third. 13 people played Patch Up, so this is relevant to the conversation. Patch Up was third at 13.
Wait, how many did you say played Indomitable?
11.
11. Okay. Is it Sacrifice? Is Sacrifice the same?
It was Sacrifice. 33 people played Sacrifice.
Okay.
More than half of the list submitted played Sacrifice. Fallback was 2. Eyes on the Prize was 3rd. Sacrifice. Mission Objective was 4th. Sacrifice, no matter the cost. Recalibration Matrix. Mark for Death. All had 25 or more players. After that, it drops down all the way to 16. So, nothing super. I actually don't know what this card is. There's a card on the top 31 that I actively have no idea what it is.
What's it called?
Foreign Assignment?
I don't know what that is either.
Is it
in the new?
Oh my god, I know what card it is. I've never read this card because it is the longest fucking card in existence. It is Agent Venom's Guardian of the Galaxy card,
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that one.
which has 5 different things that it can do, and I am not reading it now, so I'm moving on with my life. But that goes relevant with the fact that there are 18 Agent Venoms, 9 of them played for an assignment in their top 10 or in their 10 cards. That was the only card that was relatively surprising to me. All the rest of them made perfect sense.
Okay.
Um, Nothing else is that's on the let you can see like it's nothing. There's 5 or fewer, a bunch or 5 or fewer. Like of the top like 31, none of them are. You wouldn't be surprised at any. I didn't know what that card was. That was the only reason it was surprising. It does. It matches up with the rest of the information we have. So
Okay.
yep, some cool little tidbits of the where we have right now. They are in round 5 as of recording. Is the only
Okay.
other relevant information we have, which won't be relevant later.
Right. It's interesting how different the metas are. Like the meta that we play in
Hmm.
versus the meta of LVO.
I think it's a good thing though. Like I don't want I would play this game less if all like 6 of us that regularly played Beta Ray Bill on all of our lists.
Right.
Played, if all our
Hulk,
lists started out Beta Ray Bill, Toad, Hulk, like Black Cat, and then went from there.
the most
For
power gamery choices.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like when you're playing super competitive, like I usually like if I'm playing in a tournament, I usually add Beta Ray Build back in. Um, but the fun part for me in this game is more about playing like characters in affiliation. It is hard not to include characters like Beta Ray Bill. Um, but that number is really high and it's probably I hate the word and I'm not going to say it, but that's cause for concern as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, that he's so ubiquitous across
Yeah. Like
the higher play tables.
yeah, and then like 'cause everyone was really worried about like Cosmic Ghost Rider. There only 14 players registered Cosmic Ghost Rider. And I understand that he's maybe not the funnest character to play against, but I've said it once, I'll say it again. Like if you have stun in your list, if you can stun him early, like he is neutered pretty hard. I'd be much more concerned with the fact that Beta Ray Bill is being played in what 79, 80% of these lists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's just he's maybe one of the most well rounded, very useful fours, and because of that, everyone at high level tournaments brings him. Do you think that they're all playing him regularly, or is he just in the roster?
I actually believe that they're probably playing him pretty
Yeah,
regularly.
you're probably right.
I think that's the part that I think he's almost a staple for most people who play. Um, and that was something I've had conversations with other people about when they're talking about like list building. They're like, why isn't Beta Ray Bill in your list? Like he should just be the first player. He's the first character you should reach for. And um, and he doesn't do anything like disgustingly bad, but he just does everything well. But I think that's more cause for concern than anything. Like those are where Black Cat and Voodoo were before they got their changes.
Well,
I think that
AMG
number
has
is cause for concern.
AMG has shown that they're willing to make changes to characters that are getting abused in some way. Like Black Cat got changed, and Doctor Voodoo, like as you described, and I believe that both are still extremely playable and good,
They are both.
while
The
being
worst part about Beta Ray Bill is I don't really know what you change on him to make him. It's
I don't
probably
know either.
honestly, if you remove his immunities, he's probably a lot easier to deal with. I don't. I'm kind of against a lot of changes for him because I want to play Asgard. And I think Asgard will be really fun, like when the new characters come out, and I think he's a big part of that, unfortunately.
I don't know. I don't know what you change on him to make him less good, but I'm sure that AMG has a process that they go through to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. So
Yeah.
TBD'd on that, but as it stands.
Yeah, he's all
The
over the place at LVO.
Yeah, that is the most. I think that is probably the most concerning thing. Like, not even Brace, just because I think Brace is really necessary for the game.
Yeah. It doesn't
Uh,
feel broken. Like it doesn't like
it-
you just assume that your opponent is going to brace the first thing you
They
throw.
they clearly want Brace in the game because it is the most reprinted card.
like this thing's been printed like 6 times, right?
Yeah.
A bunch. It's come in
No, like it's
character packs.
legitimate.
It's in the new core set. They want it in the game.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, it's everywhere. I think if anything, you're to a point where you unrestrict Brace and just let everyone play it. Like it, it's. But I think the most
I would like
concerning
that.
thing. Yeah, I think the most concerning thing is Beta Ray Bill. I I think the concern for Brace being restricted is kind of also I think I would think it should be unrestricted just because I think with how important and how many throws there are in the game, you kind of want everyone to have access to it, and when you restrict it, it kind of gives it a little bit harder. I don't think there's any problems with the scenarios based on these numbers. There are people clamoring for researcher to get, taken out and banned, but that's mostly because it's a secure extract. I won't argue with that. Otherwise, I think Beta Ray Bill is going to be the most concerning thing that's going to come from LVO is the amount of players that have that in their list.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's move on. We will return to LVO discussion next week, when we know more, when we know how the actual tournament went. But let's move on to games that we've played recently. So yesterday, myself and Brandon and Borka and Aaron participated in a tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics. Brad would have been there, but we had a ton of snowfall, and Brad was stuck. He couldn't make it.
I was
So
snowed in.
Can I
yeah.
mention something that I think is really funny about that?
What?
Well, Fred, you know it because we talked about it.
Yeah.
But on Monday, you were so concerned about the roads because you said, and I quote, "The HOA gets the hill cleared like all the time. That's always clear. It's always the road at the bottom that's concerned."
Yeah, that
And
is
it was
normally the problem. I guess where it was a
it
weekend, they didn't really rush it.
yeah. So I felt like you just got kind of hit in the head with a big ball of karma. Just not even like bad karma. It was just funny to me when you sent out the message of like, yeah, it's the hill that's the problem. And which, as I had said on Monday, I thought that would have been the problem every time, but I thought that was kind of ironic.
He jinxed himself. He didn't knock on wood
Yeah.
when he said
Yeah, I
that.
thought that was I got a giggle out of that.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed my misery. I would rather have come played. I did get
I know
models
you would have,
painted.
and we did miss you. It did give us an even number of people.
Well, I
And it
thought I
allowed
made it
me.
even, but somebody doesn't ever tell us when he is coming, and it
Yeah,
makes
he
it.
also doesn't also listen to this, so it's
He makes it very hard to plan things.
go.
Well, I I am happy that Brad was not able to make it because it allowed for me to win. And I won a tournament, which never happens. Uh and I think that it's likely that I would not have beaten Brad. Although you never know. So,
Fred,
uh
you don't even know what I would have played.
you're right, I don't. I'm probably something with an X in it.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
do know what he would have played because I told you.
Listen, yeah.
I might
Here's a
have
fun little fact. I
Brandon.
don't know if Brad knows this because. Go ahead.
I might have last minute changed that to X-Men with
Yeah.
Cyclops.
I was surprised at what it was. I'm also kind of I don't know how I feel about the fact that event hosts can see secret lists or hidden
I
lists.
have never used that.
I don't think you have. I just thought that was a weird thing. That felt weird to me.
I guess like if you have tournament rules that maybe you would set a rule that someone couldn't that the no one was allowed to play Beta Ray Bill or something like that. And the tournament host can audit everyone's lists in that case.
I feel like if that's the scenario, you should be submitting them like via paper.
Yeah, I
Anyway,
don't know.
I thought that was an interesting. Yeah, but I literally told you what he was beefing, Fred.
Yeah. Listen, hey, I don't remember everything that you told me.
No one ever
Apparently.
listens to you, Brandon.
That's fair. That is fair. Fred was too busy kicking my ass. So
this tournament, it was like a case where everything came up in my favor. Like every question, like it was always the right scenario for me, and it was always pretty solid dice. And that is the story of this tournament for me. My first opponent was Aaron, and Aaron was playing A Force with She-Hulk, with 4-point Black Widow, and Nick Fury and Valkyrie. We were playing on Gamma, and what was the scenario? What was the extract? It was, I think, Deadly Legacy Virus. I think.
I can tell you in like 2 seconds.
Okay. Well,
You
my
guys played
list.
Spider Infected and Gamma.
Oh, Spider Infected. That's right. That's right, because our stuff kept moving. I played Craven the Hunter. I played Doc Ock. Rhino. And Green Goblin.
Here's a fun little thing
That
for
can't be
Brad that'll make him happy. That's going to be as time is revealed. Josh just texted me and said he registered for the Pittsburgh tournament next weekend.
Okay, great. Because he did not reply to my message asking if he was still going.
Okay.
Heard
Well,
I'm
that's
more
good to hear.
important, at least for one person.
Yeah. Well, this game went very well for me. I just got ahead on scenario and never was not ahead on scenario, and then just held on until I won. 4-point Black Widow is amazing. She's so hard to deal with, and she does so much damage. Like, she's actually great, I think.
If I was
So-
the type to do it, I'd go back and re-listen to our episode and hear what we said about her, because I have a feeling we all have much higher opinions of her now.
I think that we have much higher opinions of most of the core box than
I
we
will
did
promise
when we were
you,
talking.
my opinion from that episode will not change.
Is it because you weren't on that episode?
It is because I was not on.
Yeah.
I do believe on a episode after I think the main thing I said about her is that it'd be hard to play her just because of the 2-point. I no longer
Yeah.
believe that's true. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that was our takeaway, was that the 2-point ate her lunch, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
The 4
well,
Uh,
2 points.
rules.
The 2-point's great. Let's not get it twisted.
I literally just finished painting her like a minute ago.
4-point?
Yeah, 4-point Black Widow. Literally while we
Yeah.
were talking, finished painting her.
Because you're gonna put her on the table.
No,
she's
because
awesome.
the way I was painting her, I needed to paint parts separately before I assembled.
Okay. Okay.
And so that usually gets them painted faster.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
That
I'll
is
say this.
the one model I have not built from the core set.
You were the person who said you wanted one model from the core set at first, and now you built almost all
Uh,
of them.
I've built all of it. I've only actively played 2 models from the core set.
Yeah. The core set, the new core set
One
is
has been
great.
eliminated. I probably won't play that one for a long time. The one that I wanted is the one that I will play the most and is actively being painted right now,
Okay. That being Crossbones.
which is Crossbones the Merciless Mark.
Yep. Well, Aaron had an interesting list. He had all 3 versions of Black Widow. I don't know if he played any of the other 2. I don't know his other list throughout the tournament, but the 4-point Black Widow was just so unbelievably good in my game against him.
I do believe that he played 4-point in all 3 games.
I believe so. I mean, I would.
He
If
may
I
not
was
have played 4-point against me. He did not play 4-point against me. So he played 4-point in the first 2, but he did not play 2 or 3 against me.
Okay. Okay. Well, this game was me flexing Spider-Foe's ability to get ahead on scenario and then stay that way. And that's why I like Spider-Foe's. Spider-Foe's ability to be both attrition-y and scenario-y. All right, someone else talk. That was how that game shook out. Brandon, how did your game go?
Since I was the only one else there, I played Borka in round 1. We played Extremis, Intrusions. We played 19 points, which is a fun theme for me in this tournament. I was playing Kingpin. He played First Avenger. There were 9 total points a turn. I got up. I think I got 7 in the first round. And second, the moral of this story is that he tried to intrusions 3 times. He rolled 3 blanks, so I got to place all of his characters from the portals. And I believe I dazed Captain America on turn 1.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So it was after that. It just kind of was a sledding game downhill. So I don't have much to say about it. We actually were a little bit behind in getting started because the matchup is it takes a lot. Playing against Kingpin does take a lot out of you, and I do believe it's something I was going to mention. I think that we see a lot less Kingpin play because it is draining.
Yeah.
Like it takes a lot out of you to play that, and I think that matchup, like we got to a point honestly in the matchup where we just kind of like sped up the last round because the other game Fred and Aaron were done. So we kind of were just like, all right, well, we'll just activate, and we'll just stay here because there wasn't really a chance for him to come back. Like I think 2 of the 3 last activations were mine. He would have had to daze like 2 or 3 characters with 1 activation, and it wasn't like a crazy character activating. So the dice, it was like I said, it was a good game, but it was a little bit draining. So
Yeah.
Fred gets to talk about round 2.
Okay. Round 2, I played against Brandon. So this was a 19-point game, and it was sword base and senators were the 2 things that we drew. That was the best thing that I could have possibly drawn. If it had been any other of the secure scenarios, I think that Brandon walks all over me, because the other choices were superpowered scoundrels, and I guess Demons Downtown, which would have also been a game, but this
I
game,
play a completely different game on that scenario.
right. In this game, Brandon, I think that you successfully flipped a grand total of 1 sword base. And every other time you tried, you rolled blank.
I was 1 for 8.
Yeah, it was crazy. Thing two, I played Hulk in this, and um, Brandon Hulk did some work. He didn't do an obscene amount of work, but he did the amount of work you would expect a 6-point Hulk to do. Uh, and Brandon using Crimson Dynamo was hitting everyone on my most of the characters on my team, and he could not finish them off. Like near the end of the game, he had I had 3 models that had 1 hit point remaining, and he had no more attacks to do. So if the game had went one more round, it's very likely that he would have gotten very ahead on attrition. And it could have gone one more round. I think that he was frustrated at this point, probably pretty understandably after how poorly the rest of this round had gone. And I was going to win with 16 points, and he went in with Black Cat, and I think I know what you were trying to do. You were trying to finish off the character that you were attacking, because I think he had 1 hit point left.
Lizard had 1 health left. Yeah.
Lizard had 1 health left, and instead of attacking him, he should have just walked up and stolen the item that Lizard was holding, the Senator, but instead she walked up and attacked and whiffed on the attack. So I was able to get to 16 points at the end of that round, which won me the game. If it had gone one more round, I think it's very likely that Brandon could have turned it around and won.
The scenario, yeah, the unfortunate scenario in my mind, I obviously didn't. It was a misplay. I definitely should have done that. I had 4 power, so I was able to do that and try to flip the thing. I got the thing. Again, I was 0 for 7 at that point, trying to flip sword bases that were being contested. But if I go up and steal it and flip it, I can't pick it up, which is fine, but it puts Fred at 15. And he has realistically 1 character activation before I mathematically can daze 3 of his characters with Crimson Dynamo, barring he doesn't just take 1 and just run away. Which unfortunately for him, if that did happen, it would have been 15 to 11, and I would have been able to probably outscore him and jump him in points. It felt bad, but I've never been tilted in this game. I was very tilted, and that had nothing to do with Fred. It was just Fred played flawlessly, and it was just the sword base die got really frustrating, which is probably why it did not see hardly any play at LVO.
Yeah,
because you cannot control it in like any scenario really.
Well, the way that I don't think that I rolled a contested roll in sword base, and the reason why is I would throw your person off before I did it.
Yeah,
And,
I was
and I had
actively having to
everyone who had
move
pros.
off. Yeah, I was actively having to move off of points to make like proper attacks and stuff. So positioning worked out really well.
Yeah.
So it was good.
It was a
The
good
only
game.
person, yeah, the only person not defending things was Hulk. I think I only attacked him like 3 or 4 times, and he had like 4 or 5 health left at the end of the game.
Yeah, Hulk was nearly beat down. Like he had something. He was +3 dice. So you had done more than 12 damage to him.
Yeah, I think at one point the ninjas did like 4 damage. I don't think he rolled a success on defense.
Right.
But don't worry, I put 6 attacks into Goblin with 1 health left, and he did not ever take a damage. So
Yep. Goblin just refused to die.
He did. He gobbled his way up there and did the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, which was a good one. The other round 2 game was Borka and Aaron. They played Scrolls Gamma at 15, and Borka won that game.
Yep. Do you want to talk about your last game?
We can. So fun fact, I played 19 in all 3 rounds. I played the exact same models in all 3 rounds.
Oh boy.
I did not deviate from the models I played 1 different tactics card, and it was in round 3. I played Aaron. We played Kingpin. He played Shield. Nick Fury. We played 19 Threat. It was Legacy Virus. Mayor Fisk. Um, I have been plotting a plan for Deadly Legacy Virus for a long time that I haven't really been able to like bring out because I think because I have to make a couple changes that I'm not committed to at the moment. Um, but I was able to get two of the legacy viruses. I had one on Black Cat and I had one on Rhino. Right? Does that sound right?
Yeah,
Rhino,
because you
yeah, Black Cat
succeeded
and
with
Rhino.
Rhino, right?
Yeah, so I had one on Black Cat and one on Rhino. I was able to in round two activate. He in round two was She-Hulk's second attack, which was his last activation. He was able to daze Black Cat, which I mission objective her legacy virus onto Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
I was then able to activate Rhino, kill the grunts who had the third one, and then place within one, move, pick it up, and successfully get 10 points, I think, in round one. Or round two. I think it was, I got all 10 points in round two.
Oh boy.
So, which put the game in a awkward spot. So, for the rest, it finished on round three, 16-3. So,
Yeah. When you get an early legacy virus cure, like you get all three onto one character, it does swing the game very strongly in your favor.
yeah. I had 4 points round one, and then I got 8 points round two. So I was at 12, and I got the remaining 4 points that were available in round three.
Yeah.
All right, you're up, Fred.
Okay, my last game was against Borka. He was playing his Avengers list with the new core box Captain America, and I was playing Doc Ock Spider Foes. Where Brandon played the same models every game, I played very different models every game. In fact, I think that no single character was played in all three of my games. Um,
Not even Doc Ock.
I I did not play Doc Ock into Brandon.
Oh.
Nah, he played Goblin into me.
Yep, played Goblin.
There was a fun scenario that in our game we could have played a almost fully painted game because all of the models that Fred played I owned and had painted and were not playing in the game.
Yeah. We didn't though, because I
Well, yeah,
didn't want to
there was
hex my luck. I
there was
didn't
no
want to use
reason to
someone
do
else's
that. It
note.
was just a fun little thing that occurred.
Yeah. Well, in my game against Borka, I think that this is one where I had a very strong scenario play against him because we drew superpowered scoundrels, and I went wide, and he went kind of tall, not as tall as he could go because he did bring 5 models, but I brought Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Lizard. Uh, who else did I bring? I don't remember everyone I brought. Rhino and Black Cat. That's who it was. And I was able to just get ahead on scenario and stayed ahead on scenario until I won. And that's just how the Spider Foes work, and it's kind of a great strategy. Like, just get ahead and stay ahead. And on Superpowered Scoundrels, if I'm not up against Criminal Syndicate, I think Spider Foes have one of the better plays possible in that scenario. I think it's one of the strongest ones. So I had an advantage going into this game, and that's why I won. So I think that I felt really good. I feel really good about where Spider Foes are in the game, just in general. Once you figure out that they they're supposed to do scenario games. Like they're not trying to play an attrition game, even though when they first came out, it seemed like that's what they were supposed to do. I figured that out now, and now I'm starting to win games, and it feels good. I like Spider Foes. I'm excited to see what comes out soon. All right, that's the end of my tournament experience. We've been talking a lot. Brandon, are you okay if I toss it over to Brad to talk about a game he's played recently?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would
Hey,
I not
Brad.
be?
Yeah, Fred.
Talk about a game that you have played recently.
Well,
I know that you missed out on the tournament, which I'm sorry about.
I
But
did.
You did play on Monday.
On Monday.
And you
I
played.
actually forgot we played 2 tournaments this week.
Yeah, we
Oh,
played 2 tournaments
shoot.
this week.
I don't even remember what happened on Monday.
I do remember, and now I feel like I'm pimping you out for talking about another game that I won. So never mind.
So I played one game on Thursday. I remember this game. I showed up with my fun shield list, and Fred played his cutthroat tournament list and kicked my butt, and I probably shouldn't have even drove out there.
I did not play my cutthroat tournament list. I was playing a defenders list that I had never played before in my life.
Oh, that's right. You still kicked my butt, and I don't know why I showed up.
I know. I feel bad. It was defenders are good too. I'm wanting to try playing defenders, and I we'll see. We'll see. I may start doing that in the near future. But are there any other games you want to talk about, Brad?
I can't think of my games for Monday, so no.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that we have been talking. Unless there's something you want to talk about, Brandon, I'm ready to move on.
No, I'm good. I just remembered that I've played like 9 games this week. 10. I was like, yeah, I forgot that happened. And then I was like, oh yeah, I played those. And I was like, well, I also played some games on TTS. And I was like, I played one game Thursday. And then I was like, oh God, I played a lot this week.
Yeah. I think
Which
we
is
all have. We've all been on a tear.
which is probably a lot of what I was getting to, of just how draining it is playing like Kingpin Criminal Syndicate.
Yeah, yeah. You're just feeling exhausted. Well, let's move on to the character that we're here to cover today. So I was mentioning about how Spider Foes like to play, or I feel like they're supposed to play in a scenario focus. This is a character that speaks otherwise.
Oh no,
We are going to be
I thought
covering.
this was the perfect character to add to your list, Fred.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about Carnage, otherwise known as Cletus Cassidy. Carnage has 7 health on both sides, 7 stamina. He's medium move on a medium base, which is pretty solid. He's size 2, threat value of 4. And now listen to these defense stats. He has 5 physical defense, which I think is the most physical defense of any model in the game. Just like innate. The most innate physical defense of any model in the game. He has 1 energy defense and 1 mystic defense. Brad, why don't you cover his attacks?
Okay, his first attack is physical, symbiote tendrils, range 3, 5 dice, 0 cost. Gain power equal damage dealt. After the attack is resolved, they gain bleed. His second attack is also physical, area 2, 7 dice, cost 5. After each attack is resolved, the character gains bleed. And wild hit rampage. After the attack is resolved, deal 1 damage to each other enemy character within 2 of this model.
Yeah. Okay. And Brandon, why don't you cover the first 2 superpowers, and then I'll read the final 2.
Yeah, give me it. just reloaded. I've got it here now. So Carnage has two very relevant superpowers. The first one is
Yep.
Sadistic Glee for 2 power during the next attack action made by this character this turn. Add 2 dice to its attack rolls. After the attack is resolved, if the character rolled contain any skull results, you suffer 1 damage, and it can only be used once per turn. The second one is a reactive superpower for 3. It's called Paint the Town Red. If this character dazes or KOs an enemy character with an attack during its activation, this character may use the superpower. After the attack is resolved, the character advances short, removes all damage from itself, and then makes a symbiote tendrils attack. The superpower can be used only once per turn.
Okay. And then he has an arch nemesis, Eddie Brock. Whenever attacking Eddie Brock, he may modify skull results and may reroll any number of attack dice. And at the start of this character's activation, if there is a non-dazed enemy Eddie Brock within range 3, this character's first action must be an attack action targeting Eddie Brock if possible. And then he has another innate called Symbiotic Serial Killer, which is when this character is attacking, the defending character does not add dice to its defense roll for crit results. And then he has an 8 wall crawler. Okay. There are several tactics cards that we should cover first. That we will cover before we give this guy a grade. But what is everyone's first blush on this character? Brandon, what do you feel is worth talking about here?
The one thing I want you to do before while I'm talking about Carnage is I want you to count in your roster the non-physical attacks that you have.
The not in my roster.
Yeah, in your 10 character roster, how many attacks do you have that are non-physical?
Okay.
And then I will talk about how Carnage is an absolute glass cannon of a character. I know he has a spender. His spender is adding 2 dice, paying 2 and adding 2 dice to symbiote tendrils, and having a 7 die builder. That's really what he's doing. Is he's just kind of trying to kill people. I played a game on camera with Dormammu that's on our YouTube page where Carnage got an extra power and Mordo got an extra power, and I believe on turn 1 I was able to have a 9 dice builder with Carnage adding 2 dice with Sadistic Glee and adding 2 dice of Baron Mordo. And that was kind of the mainstay of that game, and you can do a lot of damage with that. He dies if the wind blows. Other than that, he has some cool things. He does have some like offensive tech when he's attacking. The defending character doesn't add dice to his defense roll for crit results, which is really good. Honestly, if this character even had 2 energy and 2 mystic defense, I think he'd be a lot better than he is. It's really hard to play him because those defenses are really low. However, as when Fred comes back and tells you that he has like maybe 1 or 2 energy attacks in his entire roster.
I have 5.
5?
Yeah, because Green Goblin can choose energy or physical.
On all of them?
Yeah, on both.
Oh, it's because you currently have Ghost Rider in your list too, don't you?
Yes, I do.
About Ghost Rider. But even if we go over like the characters, energy and mystic aren't highly played attacks. So there are scenarios where Carnage is playable. I have played a lot of Criminal Syndicate with Crossbones and Crimson Dynamo recently, and almost the best thing I have going for me is the energy attack, the energy beams that they both have. And playing Syndicate being weaker to energy, it is rarely relevant. Like I am almost always being faced with physical attacks. So like in our game that we played, Fred, Hulk, you played 2 energy attacks, right? In the game that you played. Like it's one of those scenarios which is kind of funny that if Carnage would have mysteriously just been one of the characters on my list and I would have played, it would have been like a great scenario for him.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, Green Goblin would have had energy, but that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So Carnage is one of those characters that he feels amazing when he's working, and he feels terrible when he doesn't work. Like, paint the town red. When you get that off, if you have 6 damage on you and you get off a paint the town red, you feel like you just did the best that you could possibly do. It feels incredible. But then there you're gonna have, for every game where you get that, where that happens, you're gonna have 2 games where he just gets picked up off the table. So uh
You
he
do have to be very subjective of when you play this model if you want to play this model.
Yes, yes. Brad, what is your take on Carnage?
Um, I don't know that I can say anything Brandon hasn't said. Like,
Yeah,
if it wasn't for that 1-on-1 defense, I think he'd probably get played quite a bit.
I
He
agree.
Yeah,
has
if
he
he's
has
even
cool stuff.
4-2-2, I think he gets played a ton.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. His spender, it looks really cool. An area 2 attack that could do 9 damage on each thing if you pay for sadistic glee. You will never get it off. I feel like it'll never happen. I may be wrong about that, but it's costs 5 power and then +2 for sadistic glee to get 7 power to roll 9 dice. It's very unlikely you'll be doing that.
Yeah, like I said, I think the thing you got to realize when you're playing this character is that his spender is paying 2 power to make Symbiote Tendrils a 7-die builder.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I
That
think that.
auto bleeds
Yep, Carnage is really good. All right, let's talk about these 2 tactics cards that are Carnage affiliated.
that are very
Uh,
good.
they are both very good tactics cards. The first one is called Carnage Rules. It is unaffiliated, active, and Carnage may spend 4 power during his activation to play this card. Choose an enemy character within range 4 of Carnage. Advance the chosen character short towards Carnage, and after the advance, Carnage may make a Symbiote Tendrils attack targeting the chosen character. This card is amazing. It's an incredible card. You get to move an enemy character off of a point. You get to then make a free attack, an attack that does not cost an action. You could, in theory, get a KO or daze that character with this attack, and do a paint the town red and get another free attack. There's a world where Carnage can make 4 attacks in activation when he uses this card. That's really solid, especially when you think that your opponent can't blow up crits in their defense roll. So what they're rolling is the number of dice they're going to be rolling. I think it's that is an amazing card. Does someone else want to read the second card?
I can if Brad doesn't want to.
I don't.
Go ahead, Brandon.
The next card is There Will Be Carnage. It's an unaffiliated active card. He can spend any number of power to play this card. Choose one enemy character within 3 of Carnage. For each power spent, the chosen character gain the root special condition.
This is also great. It's probably not as great of a card. You're not taking this over the other one, I don't think. But the root is one of those conditions that people don't really think about all that much, and that can really mess up someone's game plan entirely. Being able to throw characters for 3 cost is a big part of my Spider Foes list. And if all of my characters suddenly have to pay 4 power instead of 3, I think that makes the number of throws that I can do substantially less. It just won't happen near as often. I think, yeah, There Will Be Carnage, also a good card. So we have this character here that we're looking at that
Here's a fun little thing. I feel like if you played Carnage in your list, you would definitely play There Will Be Carnage over Carnage Rules.
but you see, here's the thing, is I don't think that I would ever play Carnage in my list. I agree with your statement. I think you're right. I think you're right. I don't think I would play Carnage in my list at all because my list is I'm playing a scenario focused list mostly instead of attrition, and Carnage is an attrition piece du jour. He's also a glass cannon, which is bad for attrition. So he does not work at the thing that he's supposed to do. That is the biggest problem that I'm looking at here on his card. There's a little bit of scornergy with him, where it just doesn't seem to function how it should.
He effectively can't be incinerated on the energy and mystic.
Yeah, you're right. Incinerate doesn't matter because he has one defense anyway in all except for physical, and 4 physical defense is pretty solid still.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. He is not immune to incinerate, but almost immune to incinerate.
The arch nemesis superpowers suck. Like I wish those weren't on cards.
Now you say that, and I think this one does suck because it's rare that you're going to be up against Eddie Brock. I mean, it'll happen, but it's not something that comes up super often. But the one on Green Goblin, I think, is great because you need those rerolls to really succeed in taking down Amazing Spider-Man, and Green Goblin can take down Amazing Spider-Man. So these arch nemesis, I think, are those the only arch nemesis cards in the game?
Yeah,
Carnage and Green Goblin.
I believe so. I don't.
I
believe
also
we've got
think
it
that
anywhere
those
else.
are the only two.
Yeah, yeah. So I think
Yeah,
that
they
the
realized after Carnage it was stupid and they stopped doing it.
one here, yeah, the one on Carnage is bad, and the one on Green Goblin is good. That's what I believe.
It's because it's relevant. This one at
Yeah,
one point was super relevant because Eddie Brock was played everywhere.
right. And now Venom is rarely hits the table.
Yeah, Venom has definitely fallen out of favor, mostly because of his energy defense. To be fair,
Yeah.
like he can get taken out real easy. So the couple things with the no defense on Carnage that should be mentioned, he does have 14 health at 4 threat. So as you are going to take big chunks of it, you do have ways with Paint the Town Red to get yourself out of it. You can heal yourself with Paint the Town Red. You just have to time those correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Play it into teams that have all physical attacks or mostly physical attacks. You probably shouldn't place this character first or second or third. You should probably just place this character last. And then make sure you kind of control yourself on where you're playing him. If you do actively want to play this model, I think there are advantages to playing this model. The thing on the Maximum Carnage too that Fred was really the only one that touched on it. The perk is that Rampage trigger is not hard to hit, so if you're hitting 4 characters, there's a good chance that you can deal 3 to them by just hitting those Rampage triggers. If you're hitting all 4, like 3 to each character outside of the damage that they're taking from the attack.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's
true.
just it's a hit wild to do an auto damage.
There is when you talk about affiliations this guy would be good in, there's a right answer, and I will tell it to you after you say it.
The right answer is the video on camera where I killed a Hulk and a She-Hulk on our YouTube page with Carnage.
I mean,
On turn 3, so
that's pretty wild.
That's
Carnage
a great
can...
video for our listeners to watch because it's only like 20 minutes.
it is
And
not very long.
And it's not been sped up. It's the full game.
Yep, it was Shield versus Dormammu, and it's about the best play you can get out of probably everyone played on that list.
Yep. All right. Is there anything else that we need to talk about for Carnage? Does anyone have any final thoughts they want to make? I I'm done, and I
I'm
feel
done.
like
I got nothing else to say.
yeah. Let's give him a letter grade. Um, I've said my piece. I think that he is too glass cannony to be useful as a scenario piece, which is where I want him to be. I think that when he works, he feels amazing, but he doesn't work if your enemy even looks at him with energy attacks or mystic attacks. So, for those reasons, I'm gonna give Carnage just a gentleman's C. He's getting a C from me. C for Carnage. All right, Brandon, what are you going to give Carnage?
Hey, you want to tell the listeners what you said you were going to give him before we started?
Yeah, before we started, like I was talking, I think it's more likely that I would put Mysterio in my list before Carnage, and I gave Mysterio a C minus, so that means that Carnage would have to be in the D's. I I think that there's enough place for Carnage to be a little bit above Mysterio. I just don't think he's very good, so I'm giving him a C.
I just wanted the world to know that you improved almost a full letter grade on Carnage
Hey, I
during
think
this.
these things through.
I agree with you. I think he's a C. I think there are enough cases of like if you go into the game plan, if you just want to kill everything, you're never worrying about your models dying. And to be fair, if you're trying to kill everything, Carnage is not the only model you're playing. And if they're focusing, trying to get that 14 health down on Carnage, and you are able to paint the town red one time and like heal 4 or 5, you have probably completely nixed their game plan as long as your dice are coming up average.
hmm
So, all right, Brad, you're up.
D plus.
D plus.
Yeah, he's playable if you
Yeah.
want to. You can find a place for him, but he's just too hard to make work.
You do have to actively try to make him work.
Yeah.
He is not someone that you can just plug and play. You can plug and play Mysterio more than you can plug and play Carnage.
Yeah.
If he
Plus,
had a
he's
defensive tech that said like pay 2 power to use your physical defense for even just energy attacks, he'd be everywhere.
he would be incredible if he had that. He'd be amazing. He does not have that, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, that's our take on Carnage. Brad, do you have any comic books that feature Carnage that you'd like to recommend?
I do, and there's a bit of a theme to them.
Okay.
So,
Carnage ever been in a comic book?
only in the 90s. And in 1999, Congress passed a bill that he could no longer show up. So, so the first, I didn't put dates on here. I'm just realizing. First is Maximum Carnage. This is a 14-part story over multiple titles, multiple creative teams, so I could not list them all. You can go on Amazon and get a Maximum Carnage trade paperback, uh, or you can go on not X-Men Unlimited, Marvel Unlimited. You can tell I just use it to read X-Men comics. Marvel Unlimited to and search Maximum Carnage, and there's a reading list on there with all 14 issues. So this is probably his most famous story. He recruits a bunch of supervillains, and they go on a killing spree in New York. Spider-Man, Venom, Captain America, some others team up to try to stop him. Uh, it's exactly what you would want from a Carnage story.
Okay.
Uh,
It's
Uh-huh. Go ahead, Fred.
Carnage is
sounds like
very
it's-
awesome bad guy.
Yeah.
He kills people.
Is it? So I have a question. I've seen it before. I have no idea like the actual truth to it. Is like was Carnage like partially created to make like to kind of do the full turn for like Venom to like not a complete bad guy?
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
they made a character that was just so much worse.
That
that,
he
like-
could seem like a good guy, and then yeah, because he's usually fighting Carnage as the good guy in the Carnage story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say, Carnage is a pretty reprehensible character.
He was
Carnage
a
is-
serial killer before he ever got a symbiote.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun little. That's the most WWE thing probably in comics is that it's like we want this guy over. Let's create someone so much worse that they'll have to be on this guy's side.
Yeah, it's a face turn.
Yeah, absolutely. Forced face turn.
Yeah. Okay, so then I lied to you, Fred, earlier because this next comic is after 2000.
Okay.
It's fairly recently, like I don't know, like post 2015 probably. It's called Carnage USA. It's by Zeb Wells and Clayton Crane. This one there's smaller stakes than Maximum Carnage because Carnage takes over a town in Colorado instead of New York City. But do you see the theme here, Fred?
Honestly, not yet.
He keeps taking over towns and like doing evil shit in them.
Yeah, the theme is he's a villain.
Well, but he keeps taking over cities. Like you don't see
Yeah.
that.
What's the
that
name of
How
the?
is he? How
What's
is
the name
he
of the
at-
comic, Fred?
Damn it! Why'd you ask me that? I'm looking up something else right now. What is the name of the comic?
Carnage USA.
Carnage USA.
I don't know
How
how
is
that
he
was
at
relevant.
administering to a town's sewage needs?
He's not.
As
It was
the
really.
mayor.
It was really more of the fact that I had a feeling that he wasn't paying attention at all.
Oh boy.
Mm.
Okay, pot calling the kettle black.
I don't have to pay attention. I am not relevant until after this segment.
Anyway, you'll never
Brad
believe
never
this.
quizzes me.
You'll never believe this, Brandon. But guess who fights him in this small town in Colorado?
Captain America.
No, actually, maybe. The main one's Venom, though. Venom recruits a team of heroes to go fight Carnage. Captain America might be one of them, though.
I feel like for Carnage USA, him fighting Captain America would be pretty. It'd be one of those things that's too on the head that people wouldn't expect it to happen.
He definitely fights Captain America in one of those two comics. Maybe both.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nice.
That's it.
All
Those are my comics.
all right. Carnage. So is he maybe one of the worst people who's a villain in Marvel?
He's definitely on the short list of bad people.
I think he might be.
Like
He's pretty
of
terrible.
truly bad people.
Yeah.
Fred, have you ever heard the saying that villains are heroes in their own story?
Uh-huh. Like everyone thinks they're righteous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Carnage is the villain in his own stories. In fact, one of my picks both of them kind of illustrate that, because one was called Maximum Carnage and the other one was called Carnage USA, and he was the bad guy in both of those stories.
Yeah, I think I think that's, and I think he'd be upset if he wasn't the bad guy.
Yeah.
Sabretooth is up there as one of the worst people in Marvel Comics too.
Right. He just keeps killing everyone that Logan loves on his birthday.
He kills
There,
everybody all the time. He don't care.
there are at least a decent amount of comics where Logan is not portrayed, or Sabretooth's not portrayed as like the most heinous person in the existence, though.
True.
Which I
Uh,
think there might not be many, but I guarantee there's not a single Carnage appearance where he's not appeared as the worst thing that exists in the world.
As just a blight upon the face of the planet.
he died once, and they brought him back.
Carnage.
Yeah,
I do think
Cletus died.
enough people love that character as a just bad guy, which is it probably says more about people than it does anything.
Yeah. Seriously. Well,
He's cool looking. He does
he
cool
is
things.
cool looking. Well, Brandon, what faction do you think that Carnage should be splashed into?
You want me to say Midnight Suns?
That's
No.
not who I want you to say.
No.
That's
No,
not.
he wants you to say the guy that's in my hand right now.
The guy that's in your hand right
Yeah.
now?
I want you to say is a model that you play a lot.
Oh,
Model I play a lot?
well then it's
Well,
not the guy
you
in my
have.
hand right now.
Okay, I want you to say Daredevil.
Daredevil? Do you want me to say Defenders and Daredevil?
Yeah.
I do
That
play that a
would be
lot.
good. I thought Fred meant New Captain America.
That also would probably be pretty good. But
He
Daredevil, I
doesn't
think,
really
would
have
be.
any. He only has the one trigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything that rerolls dice is probably really good. Yeah, being able to reroll multiple dice, I don't hate that.
I think the answer is Daredevil, and you try to get a Area 2 attack off against your opponent's team in entirety and just wipe the team out with one attack. 9 dice every attack. I think it's doable.
I mean, it's doable. I still think the correct answer is probably under Dormammu.
Yeah, you're probably right.
The main reason is he never is holding. He doesn't really. He only ever is probably suffering the damage one time from having the 6 or more power because he can easily spend his power.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least some of his power. And if you bring the tactics cards, you can like spend some other. I think it's Dormammu. I don't hate him in Defenders. I don't hate that.
I think it's pretty good.
I'm gonna look at it and see if there's any legs to that theory that he's got staying over there. Some other affiliations that I think anything if you want to kill stuff like the one I was actually gonna go with is hold on, let me make sure I don't want to say something stupid here. I want to make sure this is correct. So, what I was originally going to go with was Corvus Glaive, Black Order leadership.
I don't.
Brad, you cut out. Sorry.
I don't know that that's gonna work the way you think it does.
So the idea is that you can play Corvus, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Proxima, and Carnage at 18. And the idea would be more to weaken everybody with Carnage and then finish everybody off and then overpowering Corvus and Cosmic Ghost Rider and having Corvus and Cosmic Ghost Rider for your opponent to worry about, which means they're probably going to worry less about Carnage and kind of allow him to play third fiddle and kind of steal some life because
In this case, what you're discussing is using even bigger, even scarier models to draw your opponent's attention away from Carnage.
Yes. Yes,
That's fair.
you play threats that are, if they are focusing on Carnage, they're probably going to lose to the other ones.
Okay.
Yeah. That is, and doing so, they're probably going to, if you're playing against that list, I feel like you are not going to focus on Carnage as much. And then I feel like Carnage can do everything he wants to do.
I mean, you're probably right.
So the fun little thing that I thought did happen is Carnage did fight Null, which is Brad's favorite symbiote.
Not a symbiote.
Symbiote leader. The only king of the symbiotes.
It's a stupid
Creator?
character.
Did he create the symbiotes?
Maybe. He's a stupid character.
But I was, when we were talking about like that he would fight anything, like I was like, I'm pretty sure he even tried to fight Null, and he did.
Oh boy. All right. Well, the only thing that's left is my non sequitur recommendation. So I'm bringing a movie today that was a Coen Brothers movie from 2007, and I believe a Best Picture winner. And it is No Country for Old Men. This is an incredibly
Fred, what
tense,
would you say if I told you you have already recommended this movie?
Have I? It's very possible. Have I done that?
I think you have.
Oh no!
I also think you have.
Oh no! Well, then, never mind. What's another movie?
It did win the Best Picture at the Oscars.
Yeah, because it's an incredible movie. It's so,
Fred.
It's so.
What's your favorite Woody Harrelson movie?
I really
mean,
thought
it's
that
probably
was
No
the
Country
route.
for Old Men. Let's be frank.
Oh, is he in that movie?
Yeah, that's why I was bringing it.
What's your second favorite Woody Harrelson movie?
What is your favorite Woody Harrelson movie where he's actually like a main featured person?
Oh man, he has a very he's been in a lot of movies.
Here, okay, I've got
Woody
a
Harrelson's not
recommendation
even
for you,
like,
Fred.
he's like the fourth or fifth person in that movie.
Yeah, he is.
I got a recommendation for you, Fred. The first season of True Detective.
Of True Detective. Yep. That is actually a fantastic choice.
See, I really thought you were gonna go with Zombieland.
I was thinking about it.
I really
didn't want to
thought
say
you were
it.
gonna go with Zombieland.
That is a good movie. Zombieland's a good movie.
And you could have even finished with, if you play Carnage, you can turn all your opponent's models into zombies.
Here's the thing. Zombieland as a movie does not match Carnage as a character at all. It is a goofy movie. It's funny in its moments, and Carnage is not funny at all.
Have you seen the second one, Fred?
Yeah, I think I have. It did not leave as much of a memory in my head as the first one did.
I mean, everything with them hanging out at the White House was good.
Yes.
I feel like there were so many movies you could have done, and like I feel like you just
listen. There are so many things that I could do at every single one of these.
That's true. That's
like,
true.
Come on.
And yet somehow you picked one you've already done.
I know. I think
you
I've done
just
it before.
picked 7 Psychopaths.
Yeah. I think I've done it before with The Thing. Also, I think I've done that one twice.
Oh, that would be a good one to recommend for Carnage.
Yeah, you're right. It's very gory, lots of tentacles. So True Detective Season 1, an outstanding show that everyone should watch. That's it. All right. Well, I'm tired. We've been going for almost 2 hours, I think. So
We started late.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, I will see everybody next week. We'll have LVO news next week. And until then, have fun out there.